In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of adding your own recipe. First, to find the recipe templates, go to the Recipe Lookup tab. On the right-hand side, you'll notice a blue table called My Recipes, which contains placeholder names for your recipe templates, each with a number next to it. These numbers link to each of the recipe templates available in the spreadsheet. There are 40 spaces for you to add your own recipes into this spreadsheet. Each recipe template follows a consistent layout, with a darker blue header column where you can add the recipe name. The templates have placeholder titles like My Recipe Template 1, 2, etc., but you can edit these to anything you wish. There are lighter blue header columns to identify fields such as ingredients, base and per serving quantities, units, cooking instructions, and recipe tags, e.g. meal type or whether it's tagged as no prep, low prep, bulk prep, etc. In the ingredient column, you'll notice a drop-down arrow because all recipes use data validation for ingredients. Each unique ingredient in the spreadsheet is listed once in the Ingredient Data tab, which acts as the source of truth. Each ingredient is assigned a grocery store category and a consistent unit of measurement. This allows for accurate ingredient calculations across all recipes when generating a shopping list. In the Ingredient Data tab, you'll also find macronutrient data, dietary allergen information, and links to specific branded products. Branded product data comes from Coles Australia's website, while unbranded items like fresh produce or meats have nutritional information sourced from MyFitnessPal. Because of this setup, any ingredient used in a recipe must be selected from those listed in the Ingredient Data tab. If you want to add new ingredients, there's a separate tutorial video that explains how to do this. Some ingredients also have a base quantity as well as a per serving quantity. Most ingredients don't need a base quantity, which is for ingredients that require a minimum amount to prepare the meal, but aren't scalable in a 1-to-1 ratio when serving sizes increase. For example, in a crispy chicken wrap recipe, the base quantity for items like eggs, olive oil, and flour used for dredging and coating stays constant, with a smaller additional amount needed for each serving. However, for most ingredients, you'll only need to enter a per serving quantity. As mentioned earlier, the unit of measurement is pre-allocated based on how the ingredient is listed in the Ingredient Data tab, and it should not be changed. This ensures consistent measurement and scaling across different recipes in your shopping list. Now, let's create an example recipe. For this example, we'll make a simple breakfast recipe, roasted mushrooms on toast. First, add the recipe name into the dark blue header field and select the meal type as breakfast. Now let's start adding ingredients: mushrooms, olive oil for roasting, garlic paste, dried rosemary, sliced bread, and salt and pepper. You'll notice that different options for olive oil appear based on how it's used, e.g. cooking, marinating. This helps the spreadsheet calculate factors such as nutrient absorption, which can vary depending on how ingredients like olive oil are used. Next, let's enter the quantities. The units have been pre-populated to ensure consistency across the spreadsheet. For mushrooms, the unit is cups, and for one serving, I'll be using 1 cup of mushrooms. For marinating ingredients like olive oil, garlic paste, and rosemary, I'll set base quantities and per serving quantities. For example, the base quantity for olive oil will be ½ tablespoon, and the per serving quantity will be ¼ tablespoon. For garlic paste, I'll use 1 teaspoon as the base and ½ teaspoon per serving. Similarly, rosemary will have 1 teaspoon as the base and ½ teaspoon per serving. For bread, I'll add 1 slice per serving. You can increase this if preferred. Now let's move on to the cooking instructions. One thing to note is that formatting the instructions to be readable can be a bit tricky if you're unfamiliar with Google Sheets. The instructions are written in a merged cell, where several columns and rows are combined into one. Here's a handy tip for formatting. I like to number the steps, giving each a bold header. For example, I'll type tap 1, preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Then press Alt-Enter twice to create a gap between lines, making it easier to read later. For step 2, I'll add step number 2, prepare the mushrooms, again bolding the header and pressing Alt-Enter to start a new line. You can also create bullet points by holding Alt and pressing the number 7, which adds a dot point for listing details under each step. Continue this process to add all the cooking steps. Once you've added all the ingredients and instructions, the final step is to assign any relevant tags to your recipe. In this case, I'd tag this as low prep and budget friendly. I almost always have olive oil, garlic paste, rosemary, bread, and salt and pepper in my pantry, so the only ingredient I'd need to buy is mushrooms, making it a cheap option. If you want to check the macronutrient data, e.g., whether it's high protein, low fat, etc., head to the Dynamic Recipe Cards tab and search for your recipe. The macronutrient information per serving will already appear there, helping you decide how to tag it. Keep in mind that macronutrient tags are somewhat subjective, so feel free to adjust them based on your preferences. Now that your recipe is added, you'll see it listed in the Recipe Lookup tab, where the name will appear in the My Recipes table. Each recipe number in the table directly hyperlinks back to the recipe, making it easy to access and edit later. If you use all 40 templates and want to swap out a recipe, you can simply overwrite an existing one. And that's it. You've successfully added your own recipe to the spreadsheet. Thanks for watching.